Ever wonder what a perfect sister-wife relationship should look like? And why it seemed like that one wife's kids were left out in the cold of the family dynamic? Buckle up because we're peeling back the layers on a drama-filled family web that reveals more than just miscommunication. This is about favoritism, control, and the uncomfortable truths hiding behind the picture-perfect facade that TLC beats the air with. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, it's Sarah here. Welcome back to TLC Next Updates. If you're into raw, unfiltered breakdowns of sister wives drama, you're in the right place. Today's story takes us straight to the infamous couch interview, a moment burned into the minds of fans everywhere. Imagine this: Christine, Robyn, Cody, and the rest of the family seated together. The air in the room is so charged with tension, you could almost cut it with a knife. Christine, calm but obviously angry, finally breaks in. "I don't recall one time when Cody left your house to assist my children getting ready for school." Her statement is a knockout punch. Then, focusing directly on Robyn, she adds, "Why didn't you want me to assist with your children? Isn't that what sister wives are supposed to do?" The air shifts. Robyn, clearly flustered, shoots back defensively. "Really? We're doing this now?" Classic Robyn, always ready with a deflection when things get uncomfortable. Cody? He doesn't say a word. He just stares down at his hands, like silence can shield him from accountability. But here's the question. Why didn't Christine stand up to Cody sooner on this one? Why was this huge disparity in family dynamics never discussed? Simple. When it comes to Robyn, there is one rule. Don't rock the boat. She's the one person you don't mess with. And that right there is the hypocrisy. Cody constantly tells Christine, Janelle, and Mary that they don't treat Robyn well enough. But he never once holds Robyn accountable for how she treats them. In this twisted version of sisterhood, how you treat Robyn defines whether you're a good sister wife or not. Let's pause there. If sister wives are supposed to act as one big team, raising kids together, supporting each other, then why did Robyn refuse Christine's help? Why isolate her kids if she wanted them to feel like part of the family? Here's where it gets really complicated. Robyn has also said that her kids weren't accepted by the other wives or their children. But how were they when she went out of her way to keep them isolated from day one? Her excuse? She said her kids needed a safe space, away from the other children's boisterous antics. Yes, kids can get wild, but shouldn't those concerns have been addressed before joining a plural family? Instead of setting expectations, she leaned into the honeymoon phase and let everything else fall through the cracks. And the irony? Robyn's biggest grievance is that her kids felt left out, but she was the one doing the excluding. One story even reveals that she didn't trust Gwen, an adult, to be alone with her son simply because there were decorative knives in the room. That's not protection. That's paranoia. The drama doesn't stop there. In another interview, Christine brought out old personality tests that even labeled Robyn as someone drawn to drama. When this came up, Robyn, being the performer that she is, began crying and insisted she wasn't being dramatic. The tears looked more rehearsed than real. And Christine's price for speaking up? You guessed it. More backlash. Anytime Christine challenges Robyn, Cody swoops in to defend his favorite wife. Off camera, there's little doubt Christine was reprimanded. Cody probably withdrew attention, demanded apologies, and once again drew a thick line around Robyn that no one's allowed to cross. This isn't just family tension. It's a rare, unscripted peek into how differently Robyn was treated from day one. She wanted the dream of a united sister-wife family, but only on her own terms. And Cody? He never blinked. He let her call the shots while demanding loyalty from everyone else. Now, here's the part that really exposes everything. Ever heard the phrase, Robyn speaks Cody? Sounds cute, right? But it's not what it seems. Christine, Janelle, and even Cody's children have heard it countless times. Robyn says, "Come talk to me. I speak Cody." But Christine sees through the act. "We've been married a long time," she says. "I don't need a translator." The truth? Speaking Cody really just means Robyn listens to whatever nonsense Cody says, filters it through her own lens, and spins it into what she wants him to mean. Then she turns around and presents that version to the rest of the family as fact. And the scariest part? Cody lets her. every single time. After Robyn interprets what Cody says, he often just nods and agrees, saying, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I meant. But let's be honest, that's not leadership, that's submission." Cody has become a hollow version of the man he once was, always anxious, always chasing Robyn's approval. It's as if he's terrified not of losing her physically, but of her respect. That fear rules him. It's no wonder Christine and Janelle have openly said they're no longer attracted to Cody. When a man gives up his backbone and becomes someone's puppet, the attraction fades, and fast. Even Mary has admitted she doesn't recognize the man she married. And the audience? We've all watched it unfold in real time. One scene perfectly captures the imbalance. Robyn essentially tells Cody to shut up, at least until he can get his head on straight. Translation? Don't speak until you're saying what I want to hear. But when Mary pushed back and showed she understood exactly what Cody had been trying to say, Robyn's manipulative narrative started to unravel. That moment had everything to do with control, especially control over money. Robyn didn't want Cody telling the other wives that he had no intention of leaving anything to their children in his will. It wasn't just a financial secret. It was about power. Robyn consistently gets away with things the other wives never could. Why? Because she doesn't just claim to speak Cody, she speaks for him, and Cody lets her. Why wouldn't he? Having someone who always agrees with you, who always defends you, feels good. It's comforting. It's intoxicating. But it's also dangerous. Even the kids have noticed. "It's our dad," they say. "We don't need you to speak Cody." And they're right. It's insulting. I speak Cody? No. Cody is a grown man. He can speak for himself. Or at least, he used to. There's a pattern here. One that's been building for years. Robyn often tells Cody, "Let me talk to the wives. I can explain it better." But these explanations always happen off camera, behind closed doors. Meanwhile, she has no job, no other responsibilities, because managing Cody, that's a full-time position. Cody himself has said he's exhausted, tired of making all the decisions, of being blamed for everything. Robyn makes decisions for him under the guise of helping. It's her way of giving him a break while still getting her way. Cody gets to play the martyr, the overwhelmed protector, and Robyn gets to quietly pull the strings. And here's the thing that viewers want to know. If Cody doesn't have a head wife, then why does Robyn control every conversation? Why is she the only one who gets to correct him in public? The other wives never addressed him that way, because he wouldn't have stood for it. But Robyn? She interrupts, steers discussions, plays counselor, and often takes over entire scenes. It's all part of her strategy. What we don't see is the raw day-to-day reality of their relationship. Instead, we get staged moments, ear piercings, carefully curated holidays. TLC gives us the highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes truth. And that's deliberate, because if we saw how Cody and Robyn really live, it would be obvious who's running the show. Robyn acts more like Cody's assistant or handler than his wife. She decides when he speaks to the others, how he interacts, and what he shares. Cody loves this setup. It gives him plausible deniability. Robyn, on the other hand, pretends to be just the messenger. But we know better. She doesn't speak Cody. She controls him. That's the truth. And it's worked. Robyn studied Cody like a playbook. She saw a man who wanted loyalty, admiration, peace, and she gave it to him. Not out of deep love, but strategy. She never had to work full-time or be a full-time parent. Her kids were taught early on how to win Cody over. And it worked. Over time, Cody slowly abandoned his other wives, first emotionally, then mentally. This is a man who once cried over the family dog. Now, he seems emotionally vacant. That transformation didn't come from stress alone. It came from being constantly managed, molded, and manipulated. Well, he did still try to reach out to Mary in the early seasons. At least he tried. With Robyn, everything changed. He wasn't trying to understand her. He was trying to rescue her. And she knew exactly how to be the damsel in distress. Meanwhile, the other wives brought real-world, emotional depth to the family. They challenged Cody. They had expectations. But Robyn? She offered submission wrapped in flattery. And that, more than anything, became his weakness. Cody was drawn to Robyn because she offered him something he desperately needed: a chance to be a savior. That ego boost? It was irresistible. For a man like Cody, whose self-esteem has been battered for years, the emotional reassurance from Robyn was a balm he couldn't resist. But this didn't happen in a vacuum. Robyn's influence reached deep into his life. So deep, in fact, that she was even involved in marriage counseling sessions with Cody and Mary before she officially joined the family. Yes, you heard that right. Before becoming Cody's wife, Robyn was already at the heart of their therapy sessions. Mary revealed in the family's book that both she and Cody brought Robyn into those sessions, and that Robyn even had one-on-one counseling with Cody's first wife. That's a massive breach of boundaries. And guess what? It gave Robyn the ammunition she would need later to manipulate and control the situation, especially when it came to Cody. That was not only about family dynamics, it was more about a man who tolerated being rewritten and revised by his new wife. Robyn represented him, led him through, and essentially made him infantile at times. Cody let himself be emasculated, silenced, and isolated. But why? Was it a form of self-preservation? Possibly. It meant less responsibility, less guilt, and let's face it, someone always on his side. But at what cost? Cody and Robyn might feel like they've found peace together, but that peace is fragile. It's built on denial, justification, and manipulation. Essentially, a bubble where their truth is the only one that matters. The harsh truth no one really wants to admit: their so-called perfect polygamous family has crumbled, largely because of Robyn's selfish behavior. You don't need to look far to see the signs. When Cody's time with his wives became a point of contention, Robyn revealed who she really was: the selfish sister wife who was more concerned with herself than anyone else. If she really loved Christine, then she would have simply stepped down and given her the respect she needed. But instead, Robyn went forth with her courtship, ignoring the toll on Christine, who was almost due to give birth. It's a heartbreaking thought. Cody and Robyn's relationship basically took him away from the family each day, with Christine at home, in need of delivery. And on the day of Christine's birth, where was Cody? With Robyn, of course, as if no one else in the family mattered. The disregard for Christine's needs was evident. This wasn't just selfishness, it was despicable behavior. And if anyone wants to understand Robyn's true motives from the beginning, all they need to do is look at how she treated her future sister wife. Robyn didn't care about the timing. She didn't mind waiting around until Christine had the baby. What she wanted. And if it was Cody, then Cody was more than happy to oblige. But it wasn't just Christine that was affected by what Robyn did. It's just that from day one, her actions proved her true colors. She wasn't there to integrate into the family. If she had been, she would have spent those 10 months before their wedding bonding with the other wives and their children. But instead, she kept herself and her kids separate. If you're planning to enter a plural family and you don't trust the other moms to care for your children during a honeymoon with their father, that's a glaring red flag. It's clear that Robyn was never about sharing love, time, or resources. She wanted it all for herself. One of the most telling signs of Robyn's selfishness: she didn't want her kids calling other women mom. Her parenting style was radically different from the other wives, and that created tension. During their courtship, Robyn was given privileges that no one else in the family received. While some might understand why this decision was made, the reality is that Robyn never wanted to share anything. She didn't want her children to bond with the other wives, because if they did, they might realize how much of the family dynamic had been warped. Robyn's ultimate goal: to isolate her kids emotionally, feeding them a narrative that only she would protect them, that the other wives didn't care. That kind of manipulation is toxic. It's not about love or family. It's about control. When we talk about plural families, the focus often centers around the adults. What's fair, what's right, and who's to blame. But what about the children caught in the middle? Robyn entered a hectic household dynamic and then, in a move that still stuns viewers, left her young children for 11 days to go on a honeymoon with Cody. Let that sink in. Her kids had just been through the whirlwind of a new marriage, an emotional upheaval on its own, and suddenly they were left behind. New family, new house, new dad. And then, poof, Mom and dad vanish for nearly 2 weeks. For children, that's not just confusing, it's destabilizing. Up until then, Robyn's children had likely never been separated from her for that long. Was it the best choice at the time to leave them with her parents? Most likely. They required stability, familiarity, a secure environment in which to absorb all the changes. But if Robyn had known from the beginning that she wasn't prepared to integrate her kids fully into the Brown family, that's the red flag. If you don't trust the family you are marrying into to co-parent your kids, should you be marrying into it in the first place? And the length of the honeymoon? 11 days. That's not a quick getaway. That's excessive, especially considering the timing. Christine had just given birth to Truly, who was only 6 weeks old at the time of the wedding. Imagine being Christine, postpartum, exhausted, trying to heal and care for a newborn, while Cody is off honeymooning like it's his first marriage. If the situation were reversed, if Cody was about to leave Robyn for 11 days when she was 8 or 9 months pregnant, would Robyn have gone along with it? No way. Any friend who heard about it would be telling her to assert her foot. You don't leave your partner when she's due anytime. And yet, that's precisely what Christine suffered through, and here's what's even more frustrating. Cody justified that long honeymoon by saying they deserved it. But Christine didn't deserve to be sidelined? Truly didn't deserve to have her father present in those early weeks of life? The priorities were clear. Robyn came first. Robyn's emotional awareness has always seemed out of step with the reality of plural marriage. Rather than using the 10-month courtship to ease her children into this massive life change, with things like sleepovers, visits, or bonding with the other wives, Robyn chose to keep them apart. That set the tone for everything that followed. Even after marriage, she kept a distance. As we saw in the early seasons, the Browns lived in separate houses in Vegas, and Robyn was always in her own. She never truly integrated. If her children had spent more time with Mary or the others, they might have developed bonds, gained support, and adjusted. But that wasn't Robyn's plan. She liked the separation, and that has persisted throughout the show. Some might argue that keeping her kids with her mother was a protective decision. Maybe. But it was also a missed opportunity for unity. A long weekend honeymoon would have been more appropriate. After all, this was Cody's 4th marriage, and between them, they already had a dozen kids. The goal should have been to blend families, not demand the family culture change to suit one person's preferences. Robyn's behavior reflected emotional immaturity. She often came off like a territorial 8th grade mean girl, unpleasant, jealous, and possessive. And let's be honest, the original wives weren't saints either. Christine once admitted that when she was 4 months pregnant, she told Mary, "I hope you're not pregnant," fearing it would steal attention from her own upcoming wedding. These women, locked in a system built on patriarchal ideals, frequently undermined each other because they were chasing the same man's love. Polygamy, at its core, breeds emotional scarcity. No wife ever feels like she gets enough attention. So, what do? They bury their feelings. They compete to have the nicest house, the calmest demeanor, the least drama. Because the goal becomes simple. Don't rock the boat when he's at your place. That kind of emotional suppression only breeds resentment. And over time, that resentment turns toxic. When Christine finally spoke her truth, it wasn't just a reveal, it was a revolution. And in the tell-all episodes, we witnessed the unvarnished truth of how Cody actually felt about her. His disdain was no longer veiled behind obligatory smiles or lines memorized. The cracks in the perfect plural marriage were always there. Robyn's long honeymoon, her refusal to integrate, her territorial nature, and Cody's willing participation, they were all signs that the fairy tale was a facade. And as that facade crumbles, we're left asking, was it ever really about family, or was it always about control? When Christine was struggling through a difficult pregnancy, Robyn offered no help, no support, no presence, not even basic responsibility. Christine continued to work, to contribute, while Robyn sat out entirely. She contributed nothing but tears and victimhood. The narcissism was astounding. While Christine paid the bills, Robyn isolated herself. And when Christine's children were cared for by a nanny rather than embraced by the broader family, That decision set the tone. This wasn't going to be a united home. Robyn didn't want to trust the other wives. She didn't want to integrate. Her actions, intentional or not, created a wedge. Yes, there's blame to go around. These women, shaped by a system that pits them against each other, all have moments they regret. Christine married Cody while Janelle was pregnant. Janelle tried to schedule her wedding on Mary's birthday. Christine once hoped Mary wasn't pregnant, so it wouldn't take attention away from her own wedding. These were not the actions of truly unified women, but of women stuck in a system that bred rivalry and scarcity. But Robyn's entitlement stands apart. She didn't just compete. She erased boundaries entirely. Kissing a married man while he had a wife in labor? Going on an 11-day honeymoon while Truly was still a newborn, then having the audacity to expect Christine's friendship and Cody's command that Christine fall in line? It's beyond arrogance. Robyn took Cody away from the family for months during their courtship, kept secrets, and then expected everyone to welcome her with open arms. Meanwhile, she clung to this strange pride, saying Truly doesn't remember life without her, as if that erases Christine's motherhood, as if her presence overwrites pain. And then came the contradictions. Robyn expected Cody to be ever present for her kids, especially during things like surgeries. Yet she had no problem pulling him away from his newborn daughter for nearly 2 weeks. The double standard couldn't be more obvious. Of course, Cody had every chance to set boundaries. He didn't. He enabled. He allowed Robyn to command the narrative and submitted to her expectations. Instead of protecting the family's unity, he prioritized keeping the peace with one wife. Then came the pandemic, a turning point for the whole family. Cody claimed to be enforcing COVID protocols for safety. But let's be honest, it was favoritism disguised as caution. Christine's kids became prisoners in their own home. Janelle's family was cut off. Meanwhile, Robyn and her children were the obedient ones, supposedly following the rules perfectly. But viewers saw the cracks. Robyn was behind the strict rules. She was anxious, controlling, and demanded perfection. Cody deferred to her, pretending the decisions were his, and when the other wives challenged that narrative, he gaslighted them. He wanted apologies instead of accountability. Bonfires, Christmas gatherings, family moments, shut down again and again, not by science, but by Robyn's anxiety. And Cody let it happen. Because the truth was, splitting the family was easier than admitting the favoritism. Robyn used anxiety as a weapon. Her constant stress, performative or not, gave her control. Control over Cody. Control over the narrative. And Cody reinforced it every step of the way. The other wives wanted unity. They tried to compromise. But how do you unify a family when one wife refuses to budge and her husband backs her up without question? That's not plural marriage. That's selective monogamy with backup options. After marrying Robyn, Cody's favoritism wasn't just a suspicion. It became obvious. He expected the other wives to make sacrifices in the name of loyalty, but he didn't offer them the same. And when he paraded around, pretending to be a noble father or husband, it rang hollow. Even Robyn slipped sometimes. Mary, once a central figure in the family, was increasingly left out. She later revealed she had little to no contact from Robyn. The bond, if it ever existed, had vanished. Cody adopted a patriarchal mindset, one where loyalty replaced love, where control replaced compassion, and where truth was sacrificed in favor of narrative. Now, Cody risks losing everything. And Robyn? She appears trapped in her own anxiety, perhaps never wanting polygamy at all, only the financial security and public platform that came with it. The rules she enforced were never about fairness. They were about control. And that, more than any courtship, pandemic, or argument, is what destroyed this family. Robyn and Cody didn't just enforce the COVID rules. They weaponized them. They labeled the other wives mean for pointing out the obvious favoritism, using Robyn's anxiety as a shield. But to anyone familiar with real anxiety, her behavior is less about fear and more about control. Her tears? Convenient. Her panic? Suspiciously selective. Robyn's so-called rules became tools of manipulation, tools Cody gladly used because they served as loyalty tests. And they were cruelest to Mary. Mary adhered to the rules. She did the right thing. And still, she was excluded, isolated, forgotten. Cody's devotion wasn't about protection, it was about obedience. And Robyn played along, stroking his ego, manipulatively setting herself up as the sole individual who got him. The independent wives, Christine, Janelle, they didn't baby him. Robyn did. That bonfire scene said it all. Cody was indifferent, but Robyn, standing firm, insisted on full control. She corrected him. She changed his mind in real time. Cody was no longer the family's patriarch. He was Robyn's mouthpiece. And the hypocrisy was staggering. Robyn said it was for safety, but she broke her own rules, showing her face in public without a mask, shopping, and going to appointments, etc. Meanwhile, she kept other wives and children excluded from Cody's life for safety reasons. The kids saw through the ruse. The adult children knew it wasn't about a virus. It was about Robyn keeping Cody all to herself. Even Cody's melodramatic sickness felt more like a sympathy act than a medical alert. His tantrums weren't about worry. They were about loss of control. Every falsehood, every inconsistency, every rage-filled rant, it all traced back to being caught out. Because Cody couldn't admit the truth. He couldn't face the fact that Robyn was pulling the strings. He let her isolate Christine and Janelle with impossible loyalty tests. Even Mary, who passed the test, wasn't good enough. Robyn made sure of that. Cody would have likely downplayed COVID entirely if Robyn hadn't pushed the narrative. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wrote the rules. Robyn enforced them with a grip of anxiety and control. Cody used them to divide his family. And the damage they caused? Irreversible. They moved constantly, kept social circles tight, and made leaving difficult. Robyn's anxiety wasn't just personal, it was strategic. It isolated the family, made her the gatekeeper. And Cody, he went along with it because she made him feel important, needed, irreplaceable. But the rest of the family saw it. So did the viewers. The protocols weren't just about health. They were a power play, a test of allegiance, a method of silencing dissent under the guise of safety. And that's what destroyed the Brown family. Not just favoritism or dishonesty, but the quiet, calculated erosion of trust. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Was it anxiety? Manipulation? Both? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dives, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care, and much love to you all.